Hey there, storytellers. We're back with a series on writing a fiction series. So far, we've had 3 videos on this topic. Today's video will be the last video in this series. And for today's topic, we'll dive into 5 tips to help bring you more success when you write and publish a fiction series. So let's dive right into it. Tip number 1, make learning to write better books a top priority. Now, when we're born, each of us, we don't start out, we don't come out of the womb knowing how to write. This is something we have to continue to grow in. There's different ways to consistently learn to be a better writer. One is continuing to write, and this is important to help you build your storytelling skills, right? And your understanding of putting words together, right, and to really telling the story well. Next is read books by great authors, by best-selling authors. This is something I was encouraged by my husband. He said, I think you should start getting 2 books by best-selling authors in your genre every month, and see what are they doing that is different than what you are doing. And I've actually read Debbie McComber actually said when she first started out, that's what she would do. She would have these other published authors who were doing well in romance, and she would write down, take a red pen and write down, in the book, inside the print books that she got, and she would write down, what is it, how are they starting the book? How do they end the chapters? What is it that they are doing that I can learn from? What is it? And when I'm reading, what is it that is really resonating with me? What makes this part emotional for me? Why is that? What are they doing? How are they writing this sentence, this phrase, this scene? How are they writing it that really is making this more emotional for me, or more, it draws me in more. So think about these things. And Debbie McComber has really inspired me over the years. And, so I take her advice to heart, because I just really think she's done a lot of work to become a best-selling author. And similar to these other authors that are best-selling authors, they've done a lot of work. And I feel like we can learn from them. And then lastly, read books on the writing craft. That authors come to mind, like James Scott Bell. He has a lot of books on the writing craft. 𝙬𝙬𝙎𝙾 𝙬𝙬 is another author that has a lot of books on the writing craft. I just encourage you to search through, Amazon or wherever you buy your books, and try to find great books that will help take you to the next level, because there always will be. The truth of it, there's always going to be a next level as a writer. Even if you get to 90, there's still something that you can learn, right? And so, keep an open mind and just continue to be a student, right? To be open to learning. Be a lifelong learner when it comes to your writing career. I think that's going to be very helpful. Tip number 2, be consistent. And I think this goes kind of across your writing career, maybe the quality of your writing. So we've talked about that, but also that you're consistently publishing. The more consistent you are, the more that you will keep your readers engaged. There are readers who read across many different genres, but the more that you are consistent with the way you write and the way you publish, and even in your POV style, your point of view style, these are things that will continue to draw readers to your specific books, because they're coming back for what you gave them the first time, right? And so be consistent with details like putting out new releases closer together. And I have to say, this is something I struggle with, because there's been years where I've only published 1 book, and my goal is, if I could publish 3 a year, I would be quite happy about that. And so, publishing new releases closer together is still something I'm working on. Another one is sticking with the one series as you write. I have struggled with this too, because when I first started, I was writing in two different author names. I was writing historical romance with Lorna Faith, and then I was writing these clean contemporary romance with my pen name. And so it really helps if you can stick with one series as you write. And again, have one POV, point of view, throughout each book. I chose to write third person. I saw I noticed that a lot of other clean romance authors were writing in third person, so I chose to write in third person. However, if you're writing YA, first person POV is actually quite popular. So, read books, best-selling books in your specific genre that you're writing, and see what is the POV that they are using that's attracting those readers, right? I think that will be really helpful for you. And then next, be consistent with your book covers, that your book covers sort of say to the readers, oh, this is that genre. This is the books I love to read. And be consistent in the way you write and, the genre you're writing. And so these are all things to be consistent with. And even when you email your readers, that you're, trying to be somewhat consistent with that. I email my readers once a week. You might try different things just as you're getting started to see what readers respond to the most. But once you kind of get into the groove, try to be consistent with how often you email your readers, and they will appreciate that. I've noticed that about my readers, and they do appreciate that. And then also consistent, if you do have a Facebook group with readers, be consistent, in posting in that. And maybe Facebook's not your thing. Maybe Instagram, maybe that works better. I noticed there's many authors that Instagram, they connect with many readers in the Instagram comments, or even from DMs from readers. So try different things, see what works for you. And try if you can to be consistent, and sometimes planning ahead will help with that. And this kind of leads into tip number 3, which is know your readers. So the more you know about the type of person who really loves your books, the better off you'll be. And so really what we're looking for is the ideal reader. And think about who is your ideal reader, a reader that you can imagine, think about who they are. What TV shows do they watch? What type of family do they have? Even what kind of car do they drive? You can think about all these different things. I remember learning, e-commerce marketing in a course, a few years ago, and they kept talking about who's your ideal avatar, and that's kind of the word they use, avatar, as in who is this person? What age are they? Are they mid-40s? And how many children do they have? Are they married? Do they drive a minivan? Who is your ideal avatar? Well, we can think of that as an ideal reader. Who is your ideal reader? Really, you could even write this down. I think you'd find it helpful. And so when it comes to putting your books into the world, readers want to know, they're interested in knowing, where does your book fit? Because readers might not say this out loud, but the part of them, they are looking for something that is a little bit familiar. They want the story to be different, but they want that feeling of familiarity. Oh, I see. So if they like reading thriller, oh, this is similar to Jack Reacher. Oh, I know what this book, and they'll pick it up. They are knowing what to expect, right? And so you want that to happen with your books. This is like, this author that they read a lot of, and I'll pick up this book, right? So you want that to happen with your books. You want readers to know what genre and what category your book fits into, because it'll actually help you to sell more books, right? It'll help you to attract more readers when they know this, right? Because you want readers to know, you want to know what your readers like, and then readers want to know what they can expect, I guess is a way to put it, from your books. And think about this even as you write your series. I think you will find that helpful. Tip number 4, focus on a single series and genre. Now, do this from the beginning. this is something I could have done better, because, as I mentioned, I was writing under two author names. Lorna Faith was writing historical romance, and then I started the pen name, which wrote a clean contemporary romance. And so I actually had two different types of series going on at the same time, which wasn't very helpful. And so if you can focus on a single series and a single genre at the very beginning, and then write, maybe a few books, 4 or 5 in that series, before you branch off into another either author name or different type of series, I think you will start to find more success in that if you can really clearly brand your author name, but also your the types of books you write, in the genre that you write. When you do that, and you can write in one series for a few books before you start another series, you'll start to see more readers being attracted to what you're writing, and you will grow your newsletter list and grow your readership, because sometimes we can become stretched too thin if we're writing more than one series at a time. This is what I noticed in my own experience, and it just I think it just makes things simpler for you as the author, and your readers I feel like you will attract more readers if you can write in a single series and a genre just at the beginning of your writing career. And tip number 5, have consistent branding. The messaging and the imagery around your series is important. You do want your books to kind of look like a set. So when readers look at it, they say, oh, looks very familiar. And you want them also to say, this looks familiar. Like I recognize this as being like, and then they name off best-selling author, right? You kind of want that your readers say that about your books. And so some tips on this. Your font is the same for your author name, and that your font is the same for your book titles across that series. And then it'll be easy for your readers to see that these books belong together. Readers will recognize that these books are all related to each other, right? In whichever one it is, whether you're writing mystery, YA, thriller, romance, fantasy, sci-fi, just that they recognize from your book cover that, oh, yes, this is recognizable to me. So take your branding up a notch. This is something I'm working on. And brand your social media and your author website to your genre. And this consistency will help to play a role in helping you sell more books and make your books really recognizable with your readers, with your old readers, but also with your new readers who are just being introduced to your books. This will help, and because your branding is important, that you have a logo with the same font, and the website has similar colors, and that your newsletter has similar colors to your website, and that readers can tell that this is, whatever you write. So whether it's mystery, or that they can tell that, oh, this is what this book series is, right? And so everything is branded. And the more consistent you can be across your books and your series, the better off you'll be in attracting new readers who really long to read your books. So those are the tips I have. I hope that is helpful. So just a quick recap, continue to learn and to level up your writing skills, to be consistent with the quality of your writing and how often you publish, to get to know your readers, and really start to know who your ideal reader is. Focus on a single series and a genre. And tip number 5, consistent branding. I feel like that's going to be really helpful, that your messaging and your imagery around your series is that it's going to be recognizable, and that it's all branded nicely together. As you continue to write in your series, continue to ask yourself and write down in your journal what you are thinking for your long-term author career. So ask yourself, what do I want my author career to look like long-term? What is right for you? And stay consistent with your personal values, because that will be very important for your overall happiness as a writer. Follow your heart and just make sure you are writing what you feel like you were put on the earth to do. And I think that's going to be important as you continue to write your books. So I hope that is encouraging to you. Thanks for watching this series on how to write a fiction series. See you in the next video. Happy writing.